What's happening? I'm a regular guy with the Regular Guy Firearms channel. Thanks for watching. Now, I told you guys that I was going to talk to you about the 74 and what to do with corrosive ammunition as far as caring for the rifle properly and all that stuff. You guys also notice that I'm down here by the creek. Now, here's the deal so that there are no misconceptions, okay? 7N6 545 ammunition has basically a preservative within the powder that keeps the powder dry. Once the round is fired, though, it releases those corrosive salts or that preservative element all up inside your rifle. Now, salt plus metal things and then environment equals rust, right? And so there we go. It's corrosive. So I've done a bunch of shooting today, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you guys how to neutralize those salts and then give you a couple of tips on how to properly dry out the rifle and everything else. So here we go. Now, first and foremost, there are some really off-the-wall things that are told about this where people are using all kinds of random shit. And it's not that any of that's wrong. It's really not. The difference, though, is that dudes tend to get a little out of control with opinions and whatnot on the internet, so might as well set things straight. Now, here we go. We have ourselves a creek here, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to set this in the water, like straight in the water. I'm going to let it sit. Now, I kind of want to do action side up, mainly because I want to see it fill up with water. And if you're fortunate enough to have a creek nearby or something, you can actually go basically face the muzzle end of the rifle against the current so that it gets all up in the rifle and everything else. So, here's the thing. Once it's in there, a good thing to do here is to cycle your action a bunch. And I'm going to get my sleeves out of the way. Is to cycle your action a bunch and start kind of slow with it. Okay. You'll see water jumping out of the gas block area and stuff like that. So you can actually see that, okay, the piston and the op rod are shoving water in and out of the appropriate areas in the gas block. That and pretty much anywhere that powder and gas and whatnot is going to get into is a place that you really do want water to go through so that it neutralizes those salts. So we're going to cycle that action a bunch of times. Make sure water runs through the barrel area and everything else. You might as well work with yourself and get the water out of the stock and whatnot too. Now, here's the thing as well. A lot of guys will forget about this kind of deal, but it's real important. I can't even get this, but it's real important to make sure that that if you're doing a long class or something like that, get some water, basically. And after the first day or halfway through the first day, depending on how humid it is, you're going to want to run water through it if you're shooting 7N6. And when you're actually cleaning it, you can see this pin right here, okay? You want to press that down and unscrew your muzzle device and make sure that you get the threads in there, because if you don't, then even though I was in the creek just now and I cycled the action a bunch of times, water's not going to get to all of those salts that are trapped in the threads that screwed this muzzle device on. So you didn't really solve the problem, and it's just going to start rusting. So I can't get it because I don't have nails. But point is that you're going to still want to be able to do that. Now, here's the thing as far as this. I've done enough as far as getting it in the water and cycling the action a bunch of times. I mean, normal speed, set it in here. And the salts are neutralized, okay? That's all that is. Now, What's next from here really is we need to get the rifle itself dry after we make sure that the muzzle device and the threads don't have any more salts in them. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do, and this is something that I just personally suggest just because it's easier to dry it out for me personally, is that I'll get like some powder blast or something from Walmart, and I'll go ahead and just get all up inside it because it's a pretty good degreaser. And what it does is that it'll ford out a lot of the water and everything else. If you're really concerned about it, you can use stuff like WD-40 and then powder blast, something like that. So long as the water gets out of the insides and you can clean the outside, you're fine. So that all in itself is pretty easy. Now, there are a couple other methods to this that are arguably easier, but you may or may not want to do. Here's a reason. You may not want the inside of your bathtub getting all full of carbon and crap. If you don't care about this, here's another method too. Fill the thing up with hot water, okay? Switch the rifle around a bunch in it, cycle the action a bunch of times. Take the rifle all the way apart, set the parts out so that the hot water will evaporate off of the gun so long as you're setting it, like against a wall or something like so. Water will come out of the system, it'll be just fine, okay? If you don't have the capability to do that for some reason, or if you just don't want to do that to your bathtub, I totally get it. Another way you can do this is like water bottles, freaking water hoses, all kinds of shit. So, a lot of guys will come by and you might hear the rumor through the internet. It's not really a rumor, but it's a technique, is that dudes will use Windex and stuff to get all up inside the rifle, and that works. But the component of the Windex that neutralizes the corrosive salts in the action and stuff is the water. It just comes in spray format. So that's all that is, really. But I hope you found this helpful. Like I said, just make sure that if you're shooting 7N6 or corrosive 545 ammunition, that you handle it appropriately. This isn't something that you can just let go after a shoot and then cover it after your next one. It's something you have to take care of because rust will fuck up a rifle. But if you guys found this helpful, go ahead and let me know in the comments box below. If you have any additional questions, because there will be some, go ahead and throw that in the comments box below as well. Okay. But with that being said, remember guys, a regular guy's firearm is the last defense against tyranny. Be easy.